San Francisco 49ers quarterback Brock Purdy had himself a game against the Seattle Seahawks, and he's done something that only two other quarterbacks have done since 2022, and that is his 8th career game with 3 touchdown passes, 0 interceptions, most in the NFL since he entered the league in 2022. Josh Allen and Jared Goff have 6 each. He is leading the league in 3 touchdown performances with 0 interceptions since becoming an NFL player, with being the Mr. Irrelevant, all that good stuff. Like, we understand. Like, he was the last pick in the draft. No one thought he was going to probably ever be a starting quarterback, at least not this soon, and at least not have this impact that he's having this early. And that's fine. Like, listen, when you're drafted that late, you can see qualities on tape. I saw qualities on tape from Brock Purdy I liked coming out of Iowa State. I've talked about this story many times. I went to the NFL Combine. One of his tight ends, to me, was intriguing out of Iowa State. So I said, all right, I'm going to go do some tape study on this Iowa State tight end. And I remember coming away like, who's this Brock Purdy guy? Like, he's actually really good. And I started taking him as Mr. Irrelevant in the 49ers mock drafts that I would do beyond that point. But just because I was mocking, you know, Brock Purdy as the last pick, and it turned out to be the pick that the 49ers used it on, I didn't necessarily think that Brock was going to come in, and I didn't even think he was going to make the roster, to be honest. You had Jimmy Garoppolo, Trey Lance, Nate Sudfeld, right? He was the 4th guy. He felt like he was going to be a practice squad guy, but he did enough, and he really showed early on that he had some special qualities. And obviously the guys in the building saw it, and so they said, we can't chance losing Brock. So they made some moves. They cut Nate Sudfeld, who they had guaranteed $2 million to, and that was the first, like, oh, that was the first, like, oh, okay, that's interesting that the 49ers did that. But honestly, like, I don't, like, that's why the whole conversation and the communications about Brock Purdy and his performance against the Cardinals, and people just absolutely losing their minds off really not even that, it really wasn't that bad of a performance. I talk about it all the time. You want to point to a bad performance? Look at the Minnesota Vikings game earlier this year. That was one of Brock Purdy's worst performances. Not that game against the Cardinals. Was it a great performance? Absolutely not. Was it a good performance? It was okay. It wasn't the worst. He had the ball bounce the wrong way a couple times. So that's why all the discourse and the conversation and all the hot takes about Brock and this, Brock that, oh, he's not that guy. I couldn't believe it. I felt like I was in the Twilight Zone. Honestly, I felt like I couldn't believe the backlash that Brock Purdy was getting last week. And it's hilarious now that Brock Purdy goes out, puts 3 touchdowns on the board, 0 interceptions, has a heck of a game. Again, using his feet to create outside of structure, to be able to move the chains, and just playing good, efficient football. And again, outside of structure, outside of the scheme of Kyle Shanahan, outside of the scheme of his weapons and things like that. Losing Jordan Mason and still having to find a way to be successful when your offense becomes somewhat one-dimensional, and it all kind of hinges on you and what you're capable of doing. So it's pretty funny to me, the goalpost moving that has been done in just 4 short days, because remember, the 49ers played the Cardinals on Sunday. It's now Friday, and the goalposts, whoo, boy. One of the cool things about the Brock Purdy evaluation is you get to really understand who's really evaluating Brock and who has other things at play. So if you just are trying to evaluate Brock for what he's doing and how he's playing, it's really easy to see that he is definitely at the top of the league with how he plays this position. And it really shouldn't be a surprise to anyone, like how he performed against the Seattle Seahawks. Shouldn't be a surprise. Like, And, oh, it's the Seahawks. You got to play who's in front of you. I'm tired of these stupid excuses. Like, you got to line up and play who's in front of you. Those guys get paid millions of dollars too. The 49ers, perfect, same example. Down Mooney Ward, down Hargrave, down Jordan Elliott, down Dre Greenlaw, down Talanoa Hufanga. Malik Mustafa goes down. Like, it is what it is, man. Like, it is what it is. You got to play who's in front of you. And it's not a valid excuse. This is the NFL. If you're playing in the NFL, you should be able to go. So it's been pretty funny to watch the goalposts moving with Brock Purdy. But as you guys know, I did a full film breakdown to say like why all of this was overblown, providing the proper context into how Brock Purdy played against the Cardinals. And again, reiterating that you shouldn't be concerned. There's nothing to be concerned about because nothing that Brock Purdy did against the Cardinals was concerning. It was more of a team effort. It was more of small, minor details. We counted 3 potential touchdowns the 49ers could have had against the Cardinals that it didn't work out. Very close. Just didn't work out. And that's the difference in those games. And again, those few plays go a different direction. 49ers win that game. No one's having those conversations about Brock Purdy. It's the same thing. So, again, a lot of hyperbolic conversations and takes surrounding Brock Purdy. I've broken down every single play from Brock Purdy since he entered the game against the Dolphins. And I'll tell you if he's not having a good game or doesn't have a good play here or there. That's the NFL. Everyone's going to have a bad game. Everyone's going to have a bad series, bad play. It is what it is, man. You just got to be able to understand when you're evaluating, it's a body of work, especially with football. So the body of work that Brock Purdy continues to put up, he's still doing things in this league that a lot of guys who are drafted in the first round aren't doing. So I don't want to hear this conversation about Brock anymore. I'm tired of it, especially after last week. Oh, Brock's not the franchise quarterback. Like, come on, man. You have how many first-round draft picks have busted out? Where's Mac Jones at right now? Where's Zach Wilson at? Where's Trey Lance at? Where are these guys at that are supposed to be franchise saviors? And you have Mr. Irrelevant, who's the one who's saving the franchise. I don't want to hear it anymore. Last week was a great exercise on really being able to identify who understands what's going on with Brock Purdy and who doesn't. And for me, I'm glad to be on the right side of that. Hopefully you were on the right side of that as well. And hey, if you were on the wrong side of it, use this as a lesson, learn from it. And again, evaluation is a long-term process. We can evaluate in a bubble. We can evaluate in a vacuum, but it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. So that's how we have to treat it. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below. And as always, make sure to like and subscribe for more updates.